What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. Alright, this story's called How I Got Even with the Crap Former Coworker That Wanted to Spread Rumors. Obligatory on mobile. Okay, so I was recommended to post this story to this sub. I'm gonna be honest here, there are no saints in this story. There is no good guy or bad guy. I felt I was wronged and I got revenge. That said, let me give y'all some backstory and get to the good stuff we're all here for. I worked as a security guard for a few years at a factory. My last year I had made site supervisor and ran the guard booth. We were contractors. Our contract was simple. Make sure everyone who comes in is logged, watch the cameras call big wigs to pick up their visitors. Every now and then we did a walkthrough or some paperwork. Simple, and it leaves you with a lot of relative downtime depending on your shift. During my tenure, I made a few friends, a few enemies, and got along with most of the people working there. It's surprisingly easy to investigate incidents when people like talking to you. One of the enemies I made was a supervisor. Let's call him Ted. Ted had worked his way up from a line worker and felt that since he had made his way from nothing, he deserved his ego. He had squared himself firmly against anyone he couldn't control, and I never gave him his due. We all know his type. Now, Ted treated his line workers pretty poorly, and more than a few came to me to report his misconduct. One of our duties was to log any of these complaints as an incident report, submit a copy to the factory admin, submit a copy to our company, and then file the original. Ted had his own folder in that drawer. Ted did not like this. Ted did not like me. At the start of ProVid, we lost most of our staff in the booth. We were down to 3 guards trying to cover a 24/7 schedule. We did a lot of 12-hour shifts starting from March going all the way to October when I left. My company struggled to fill the missing spots, hiring 2 guards during that period. Neither lasted more than 2 weeks. October came, I was burnt. Then both my remaining guards quit. I don't blame them in the least. I immediately turned in my 2 weeks and refused to work more than 12 hours a day. After I turned in my notice, my company scrambled to replace me and the missing guards. They got my replacement at the start of my last week, and she started on a Sunday. I trained her for 1 day and she never came back. I discovered on my last day she had claimed that I intimidated her and made her uncomfortable. She told my boss she didn't feel safe around me. Now, I was livid at this. I have never mixed business with pleasure. I'm a big guy. I work out. I have never had those intentions at work. It was a major joke anywhere I've worked because my tagline has always been, I don't crap where I eat. I was burned out. I had an amazing woman I am now dating who is coming out to see me in 2 weeks. I had spent hours training this woman. I had her scheduled during my shift for the entire week so I could walk her through everything to do on the job. I had squared off with the factory admin to keep it that way. I was doing everything I could to help her because she was coming into a major frickin' mess. Admin was looking for a different contractor. Supervisors were trying to access our files. We had crap tons of sensitive information that would have let anybody move up the ladder quick, or at least remove a lot of competition. It was chaos. At this point, I haven't had a day off or a good night's sleep in 3 months, and the boss I had only ever talked to over the phone had arrived in person to tell me this crap? I had almost been terminated over this on my last frickin' week. If I didn't have the work ethic my father taught me, I would have walked then and there. I finished my day and walked away, never intending to think of that job again. Now, the story should end here, but it didn't. And this is the juicy part y'all are hankering for. See, after I left, a few friends kept me up to date on the goings-on. My replacement came back for a day and then quit, citing the long hours would keep her away from her kid. I was salty, but it's not my problem, until a few days ago. So Ted had found out about her allegations and began spreading rumors I had been terminated for sexual harassment. He then told people that I was a serial harasser and had caused a former female employee to quit as well. She had left as I had gotten the site supervisor job over her. I had seniority and she had a dirty disciplinary record. She had a few incidents that had nearly gotten her fired. I didn't like this, especially given that 2/3 of the incident reports I had on Ted were for sexual harassment. What Ted didn't know is that I don't like being screwed with. While I'm quiet and unassuming, I had plenty of time to build my mad folders. Little personal history. When I was a computer tech, I had been royally screwed over and nearly fired by my then boss. He gave me directives that were a violation of company policy. Bad enough that when they came to light, I was given an immediate final written warning. Since I had no proof he told me to do what I did, I shouldered full blame. Since that day, I have created mutually assured destruction folders, mad folders on anyone that I felt would try to screw me. Ted was one such person. All the originals of my files are kept hidden in online storage and most are never touched. But Ted pissed me off and was threatening my future job prospects. Reputation is everything, so I opened his folder. I had access to the camera system at the factory. Folks, small town factories are disgusting. People do crap you wouldn't believe. One really popular thing to do was screw in the parking lot. Ted had built a little harem for himself by giving the better line positions to women that gave him a little action, and I had pictures and video. I made a nice little folder with some choice clips and stills, then I sent them to his wife and oldest daughter. Dude is 20-ish years married with 4 daughters, 2 in college, one graduating in a year or 2. No clue what happened there, but I doubt it's going well for him. And that wasn't the end of it. I wasn't satisfied. This never would have been a thing if that replacement hadn't used me as an excuse to duck and run. I told y'all, there's no saints here. During her one day of training, my replacement had asked me about cell phones with good cameras and a bunch of weird policy questions. A few careful questions, and lo and behold, she has an OnlyFans. I warned her that was a huge violation of our contract with the company. Any type of sex work is forbidden as the company has clients in Vegas and some European countries where that is legal and doesn't want any workers moonlighting. The company is incredibly strict on that. Strict to the point I could have terminated her on the spot. They are impartial. Man or woman, it is not tolerated. Thinking on this and being very irate, I track it down. And she was nice enough to have links to her premium Snap. I bundle this and send it to 3 groups: my previous employer, the IRS, and her ex. She had been in a protracted custody battle with him, and our state is a little conservative. Judges here do not look favorably on sex workers. Most have a prejudice that the women are hooked on drugs and will harm the child, and I just gave her ex evidence of sex work and possibly tax fraud. If his lawyer can't get at least split custody, no child support, that's on the ex for being a piece of poo. So that's my story. Let me know if y'all feel this is ProRevenge or not, because honestly, I'm not sure if I went far enough. Yikes. You know what? They were still doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, and you simply shed light on it, so I don't think you went too far. However, you definitely did some damage. Alright, this story's called Half-Brother Threatens to Sue Me Over $16,000. It costs them $158,000 and possibly their parents' marriage. When I, 25 female, was 3 years old, my grandparents passed away. They set up a savings account in my name. The account was meant to be accessed by me when I was 21. At that point, it contained just over $300,000. What? My grandparents left me a letter saying they would like me to share the money fairly with any other Smith-Jones children, meaning my full siblings. Dad's a Smith, Mom's a Jones. By fairly, probably not dollars, so it's worth more than $300,000. By fairly, they meant that they wanted me to assess the situation and judge for myself what was fair. I never had full siblings, but I have 2 half-brothers, Mac and Joe Smith, who are dad and stepmom's kids. Due to the specific wording my grandparents used, I legally never had to give Mac or Joe any money. However, I see Mac and Joe as my brothers, and as the money came from our grandparents, I felt that the fairest thing to do was to assign each of us $100,000, or 100,000, whatever, units. So we all got an equal-sized lump sum, and I figured that when Mac, the youngest, turned 21 and took his 100K, we could split any remaining money. When I turned 21, Dad suggested I buy a house with my 100K. I found a place I loved, but it was 130K and I couldn't get a mortgage. So Dad said I should borrow 30K from the account. I did, figuring I could pay it back before my brothers turned 21, and I have been repaying it. The account should be at $208,000 right now, but due to me withdrawing and then repaying that money, it's at $195,000, so I still owe $13,000. Joe turned 21 recently, and as I was giving him his $100,000, Joe noticed that there was less in the account than there should be. I explained and said I was gonna put it all back before Mac, now 19, turns 21. Joe told Mac, and both boys said I stole from them and owed them the full $13,000 plus $3,000 of interest that they felt they would have gotten, and they wanted it all paid back by this summer, which gave me less than 6 months to bring the account up to $211K. I said I'd do it, but over 2 years as planned. The boys then wrote up a contract to that effect. I went to sign it until I saw that it said 6 months to pay it all back. I wouldn't sign as we agreed on 2 years. They said I should figure it out as they were entitled to that money and would be seeking legal advice. Later that day, I got an email, clearly written by them, saying they intend to sue me for the $16,000 plus whatever is currently in the account and additional damages and emotional distress on top of that. At this point in time, I'd given Joe about $50,000 of his $100,000 because he wanted it in installments. I responded that legally they were never entitled to any of it, and given their attitudes, I'd say they've already received an amount I deemed fair. So that $50,000 was all they were getting. I then get a barrage of texts, calls, and emails yelling at me for going back on our deal. I blocked them. They then took to social media saying that I was trying to screw them out of their inheritance and rallying our extended family into harassing me over this. And it mostly worked, as a lot of people messaged me. However, I got a message from this guy called Chris Smith. Chris said he was 27 and claimed to be my half-brother. I had never met him before, but he sent me photos of him as a kid with our dad, grandparents, and me. He showed me that he also had an account with $150K in it and a scan of a letter from our grandparents, saying this money was meant to be shared fairly among Dad's illegitimate children. Chris also told me we have another half-sibling who is 18. He'd been looking for me for a while, but only found me when Dad shared Joe's post, which had me tagged. We checked with a solicitor to make sure, and as the boys are legitimate, they aren't entitled to anything in Chris's illegitimate kid fund. And as they are my half-siblings, they aren't entitled to anything in my Smith-Jones kids fund either. I sent the boys a letter formally telling them to back off, stop posting about me online, and enjoy the $50K because that's all they're getting. The day they received the letter, Chris got a PM from Dad asking if the boys can have some of Chris's fund. Chris also said no and told Dad we'd met. I told Mac and Joe about Chris and our other half-sibling with Chris's permission. So it looks like my grandparents, knowing about Chris before they passed, set up 2 funds. One for the kids Dad had with my mother, who was still his wife when they passed, and one for children born out of Dad's affairs, presumably to make sure no one tried to screw anyone else over out of hurt feelings. I'm getting a lot of crap, but holding firm on my decision, the boys have realized that I won't back down on this, and it sounds like I've caused a schism at their house, as Joe has all the money and no intention of sharing it, so Mac is now feeling twice as screwed. Plus, stepmom apparently did not know about the other half-siblings or that my half-sister was born after she and Dad got married, and she's made Dad move into a hotel. It sounds like Dad is looking for a long-term living arrangement outside of the family home because it looks like she's not letting him move back in. Dad is begging me to reconsider, but honestly, I'm done with all of them except Chris and my sister. Good lord, that freaking Dad had a crazy penis just everywhere. Like, goddamn, dude, keep it in your pants. And also, grandma, grandpa, holy poo-poo. They left the kids with plenty. Alright, this story's called You Forgot Who Was Paying, Dummy! So my most recent ex and I are not on good terms. Very bad terms, you might say. We still had a joint Netflix account though. However, it was under her email. Furthermore, I was the one paying for it because during lockdown, she wasn't able to get unemployment, so I took over paying for it. I knew it was just a matter of time before she decided to lock me out of it. I don't know if she forgot that I was paying for it or was hoping that I forgot that I was paying for it, but that day came this morning, so I called up Netflix, apparently just in time because according to the service rep, it was about to renew for another month tomorrow. Canceled the subscription and started a new one in my name, for cheaper I might add. Now, I would have happily kept paying and not given a crap, and she could have kept using it problem-free, but who cares? But she wanted to keep being petty. It's her default mode, so congratulations, you played yourself. Meow. That was the best I could do. But, damn. Yowza. Yeah, she's, she messed up. Also, cool guy for, being cool. But, damn, she messed up. No more free Netflix for her. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.